8.5. Use properties of trapezoids and kites. Vocabulary. Trapezoid. A trapezoid is let me get that darker. Is a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides. The bases of a trapezoid. The bases are the parallel sides. So that would be the base, and this would be a base. The base angles are the angles at the base. So right here would be a base angle, and right here would be a base angle. The legs of a trapezoid are the non-parallel sides. Isosceles trapezoid, where the legs are congruent. Let me spell that right. Congruent. And that means that they're the same size. Mixed segment of a trapezoid connects the midpoints of the legs so if this is a midpoint and that's a midpoint, this would be called the mid-segment. And then kite is another type of quadrilateral. It has two pairs of consecutive congruent sides and opposite sides are not congruent. Don't let this fool you with big vocabulary. A kite is a kite shape. So where these two sides are the same, consecutive, they come right after another and they're congruent. The two long bottom sides are the same. Okay, we're not actually going to do example 1. I kind of think they're a little bit long to do. Let's just talk about how to prove this. So if we had to show that this is a trapezoid, we know a trapezoid has one set of parallel lines. So we would calculate the slope of this line up here and this line over here and prove that they're parallel. And then we would have to calculate the slope of these two and prove that they're not parallel. Okay, let's move on down to theorem 8.14. If a trapezoid is isosceles, then each pair of base angles is congruent. So if the trapezoid ABCD is isosceles, then angle A equals angle D, and angle B equals angle C. So if the sides are the same, the angles joining those sides are also the same. So theorem 8.15, if a trapezoid has a pair of congruent base angles, then it's isosceles trapezoid. So these two are just opposites of each other. if a trapezoid is isosceles if and only its diagonals are congruent. So if and only if AC segment is congruent to segment DB. Okay, onward. Use properties. Okay, a shelf is fitting into a cupboard in the corner of a kitchen, the isosceles trapezoid. Find the different angles to it. Well, if it's isosceles trapezoid, then we know the N is also 50, right? And then we know that these two top angles are the same. So how can we figure out what they are? Well, we know from the N minus 2 times 180 degree formula that a quadrilateral has to equal 360 degrees. So if I already used up 100 of those degrees with these two 50s, then I have 260 left to split between my two angles up there. 260 divided by 2 is 130. So those both are 130. And then the other ones are 50. Okay, checkpoint. Let's look at these. Let's not do 1, but you can do number 2. Okay, and then start the video when you're done. Okay, theorem 8.17, mid-segment theorem for trapezoid. The mixed segment of a trapezoid is parallel to each base, and its length is 1/2 the sum of the lengths of the bases. Does that make sense to you? If you draw a line in the middle, it's going to be its length is going to be in the middle between the two lengths. So let's fill in this. LN is parallel to AB. LN is parallel to DC. LN is 1/2 of AB plus CD. So this is your formula that you can use to find an unknown mid-segment length, or if you leave one of these as an unknown, you can find an unknown side. Example 3. In the diagram, MN is the mid-segment of trapezoid. Find LN. So we're going to go 1/2 of 9 plus 16, which is 1/2 of 25, which is 12.5. Okay, checkpoint. Go ahead and do that, and then start your video again when you're done. Theorem 8.18. If a quadrilateral is a kite, then its diagonals are perpendicular. Which it means that they make a right angle inside of it. So if this is a kite, then AC is perpendicular to BD. And if a quadrilateral is a kite, then exactly one pair of opposite angles are congruent. So these two angles across from each other on the sides of the kite are congruent. So A and C are congruent, and B and D are not congruent. Or I guess I put the congruent sign above it, not congruent. Find the measure of angle T in the kite shown in the right. Okay, so we know 88 and 70 are different, so R and T must be the sides that are the same, or the angles that are the same. So again, we're going to say that the whole angles have to add up to 360. So if I subtract 88 and subtract 70 off of that, then I would have 202. If I divide that 202 into half, then I get 101 for both of these. Okay, and again, you can check this by making sure they all add up to 360. Okay, go ahead and do this last checkpoint, and you are done.